What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 27 of One Podcast for Nerds. As usual, I'm your host, Andrew, and with me, as always, is Nolan.
Yo!
And Austin.
I'm back.
Yeah.
I wasn't bullied off the podcast.
Yeah, I found it funny because a naming episode, oh yeah, we bully Austin. The next episode, he's not there. And I was like, after editing all that, I'm like, I should probably explain this whole situation to everybody. Like, he just had shit to do.
Yeah, I had to fix my PlayStation. By fix it, I mean absolutely butcher it. But
Yeah.
hey, it runs now.
Fuck. Well,
That's all that matters.
Buy a PS5 soon, I guess.
Yeah, that is true. Well, I'm in the same situation as Nolan. Every single time I go to buy it, I'm just like busy for whatever reason, and then I go to when I go to click on the thing, it's already sold out.
Okay, well, is that actually your case? Like, are you for real? Are you looking?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, dude, I can just keep sending you the links I send him.
Yeah, no, I was just joking.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you're new to the show, this is basically just the three of us talking about shit, awkwardly at most points, but shit nonetheless. Yeah. And as always, remember you can support us on the Acast supporting system. You can find that in the descriptions below, as well as Main Jams, where we have a mug. And you can find that as well. Link to that in the descriptions below, and then you can go around and peruse their shit as well. Yeah, so everyone who's sticking around, thanks for sticking and listening to this god awful podcast we've created.
We appreciate every one of you.
Yeah, it's been a clusterfuck from start to now. So let's keep it going. Let's keep this train wreck going. All right, so we don't really have much to talk about.
Not a lot of news.
No, well, I was actually gonna say real quick. So Netflix bought a studio. What does everyone think of that?
They're going to get into streaming games, but I don't know how they're going to do that. Not sure what that platform, that whatever is going to look like.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know like what platform. Like if they're actually going to put it on like Netflix, and you can just pair a controller with your TV or device that you have, and then just play from there. But they bought Night School Studios. Basically the studio behind Oxenfree and After Party, which I have played Oxenfree. I've not played After Party. Also, as no surprise too, just real quick, is that PlayStation got Bluepoint.
Yep.
I mean, we all saw that coming down the rails.
Yeah.
So it's just now it's official. So that's kind of cool.
I'd be way more surprised if they didn't.
Well, yeah, I was surprised if we didn't hear anything this year. I'm sure because of the pandemic and stuff, everything kind of slowed down. Okay, so it's going to be an interesting episode. I'm not going to put a time limit on it because last time I said, oh yeah, this is going to be a short one. It was like an hour and 15 minutes long. So let's just go with the flow on this. We're going to talk about our top 3 favorite and top 3 worsts. This goes to Austin. He's the one who picked the topic because we literally had nothing going, and we normally don't really game plan these until 2 days before. So here we are.
Well, like we were saying, there just wasn't a lot of news really to go off of, right? Not like a lot of video game news, not a lot of like media news in general that really mattered. So I figured, hey, I'm me. I like to talk about what I like and what I really hate. So it'd be a good way for us to kind of show you guys what we're into and how we process things. Like some of the choices you may really like, but that's your prerogative, right? We might not like that the same way you do.
Also, I have no idea if we've done this already. This is 27 episodes, and like I have a feeling we might have done something similar to this, but maybe it was more
We've talked about a few of these.
Yeah, I feel like we bought
share
it.
a list with each other, but
yeah, I think we went through a list of games, like top one, like we were doing like top like $millions games and stuff like that. And I think we talked about some of these series that we really like, but we're gonna talk more in depth of like what specifically. And we made this obviously a lot shorter. So let's go with Austin, man. Let's hit you first. What's your top 3 favorites? Let's go favorites.
I did mine a little different than you guys did. I noticed. I split it into all 3 different medias, right? So I have it in TV/anime, video games, and movies.
Did I say video games this entire time?
No.
Oh, okay.
I said top 3.
Yeah, I just
So
said
I
top
just
three. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
so
Cool.
that's
Cool.
why
Cool.
I was
Cool.
just saying. So it's actually like top one of each
Yeah. Okay.
and top most hated of each. So I'll start off with movies.
Go for
Uh
it.
for my most hated movie of all time, and I'm a lot similar to Andrew in the way where I try to find like good moments in shitty movies. Like for example, the worst X-Men movie is Wolverine Origin X-Men's Origins Wolverine, right? But
Absolutely.
there's a really good part in it where it shows Wolverine and Sabretooth since they were kids as they're going through each and every war in American history, right? It's a very, very interesting like process, and it kind of shows how the characters change as they get older, right? And it's really, really good scene in a dumpster fire of a fucking movie. Uh, so for the things I hate, I can't find any redeemable factors at all, right? And for my most hated movie of all time, that's Mulan 2021.
I don't think you're alone on that though.
Well, it's just like they took the soul out of the movie, like in
Yeah.
general, right? I've never seen a more carbon cut, unfun movie in my life, right? And like when you make a movie for a certain demographic and you take out everything else just so you can please that certain demographic, and and then that certain demographic fucking hates what you did, right? You know you fucked up real royally. So my whole my whole thing like for the movie is like you take away all of the personal growth that Mulan gets from the original cartoon, right? Because Mulan was very crafty and she was scrappy and everything like that, and she had some sort of trainings and stuff like that. But she really had to like figure out herself as a person throughout the movie as she's going through the military and training and everything like that. She became a real warrior from the from the progression she got. So in this movie, you know how where all that progression went? G powers. She doesn't need to train. She's automatically better than everybody. She has chi powers. She doesn't need to grow as a person. She has chi powers, right? Um, the villains not a threat. She has chi powers, right? And it's just like it totally ruined the entire dichotomy of the show. And what I think really uh, represents the movie as the hero's journey. And I think they really royally fucked the pooch on that one.
I
Oh,
haven't
nobody
seen it, so I can't really say anything about it.
say nobody has anything to say, eh?
No, I've seen I saw the cartoon, and that was really good. Really
Yeah.
enjoyed the cartoon. I thought it was really good.
Second favorite second favorite Disney movie of all time.
But you and I've heard you talk about the live action one, and everything you said is every reason why I don't plan to ever see it.
hmm I watched it because, like I said, it's my second favorite Disney movie of all time. Like right behind the original Lion King. Right, and the original Lion King is just a rip off of Kimba the White Lion, but that's a story for another time. My two favorite movies, it's a tie because I really couldn't figure out like if I really could put one above the other. And they're two very different movies. Moneyball or Good Will Hunting.
Uh, Both good movies.
hmm
Good Will Hunting to me is the better movie, I think. Moneyball though is a great story, and I thought it was done really well because it's such a topic that most people talk about analytics in baseball. It's such a boring topic,
But
and
it wraps you in there, you know.
it really does. Like it was done really, really well.
Mhm.
And
The,
is it Matthew McConaughey? No,
no,
it's Brad Pitt. Sorry,
yeah,
Brad Pitt does a fantastic. That's one of I think Brad Pitt's best performances ever, because
I
he
agree.
like just the way he acts, the way he talks, everything, and he really just takes on the attitude of a general manager of a baseball team.
And
And no, it was a good movie. And they took the most boring thing about sports and the thing that so many old school diehard fans think is ruining every sport and made a really great captivating movie.
See, that's to say the thing I really liked about Moneyball was it's like the perfect underdog story, right? How the A's were the brokest team, the lowest team in the roster of the MLB, right? And then they make a playoff ready team out of the scraps and that nobody wanted, right? Players that nobody wanted, and it just shows like I said, you got like Billy Bean says it the best in the movie. Like, how can you not be romantic about baseball, right? I just love the movie. I love the soundtrack. I love how it's Jonah Hill's first serious role and the one that actually got him an Oscar nod because of it. Um, then Good Will Hunting, for me personally, uh, I've always been a Robin Williams fan, but in my opinion, I think Robin Williams is a better drama actor than a comedian, right? In my own personal opinion, right?
When
Don't get me wrong.
he plays dramatic roles, he shows off so much more versatility, or showed off so much more versatility, and he becomes more captivating, I think, as an actor because of that, because he's not playing the comedian that he usually does.
Exactly, right?
And he really just encaptures that. Like in 1 Hour Photo, when he runs the photo lab, like that was, I think, the first time I saw him in non comedic role, and he was fantastic.
Mhm.
And he does the
He
same in
really
Good Will
stands
Hunting.
out. Yeah, and like it really like it shows like the acting ranges of both Ben Affleck and um
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Thank you, because he's like that was both their first roles. Like they wrote the roles for themselves, and they made one of my favorite movies of all time, right? And like there's all these out of all the interviews, they're always talking about how like the Robin Williams really got the boat like rocking for them, right? And they really got it so they could go off. And I've probably watched both of these movies countless times, and I come back with like different feelings each time. They're both beautiful stories, and I think like I like them for different reasons. So yeah, those are my two favorite movies there. I think we'll move on to one of the other guys, and we'll kind of do like a nice circle as we're going around, so it doesn't feel like I'm talking too much.
All right. Well, my favorite movie, I'll go next. And I've been
It's
in
a good
love with
one.
this. Oh, man. From the moment I first saw it, I grew up waiting till my parents went to bed, and then I'd sneak out of my room, and in the basement I'd turn on TBS and watch all the classic B movies that they played after midnight. And I'd turn it down really low, and I'd sit right up next to the TV. And so, because I'm older than you, it was a huge cabinet, great big TV,
Yeah.
and like bigger than a washing machine. That's how
Oh,
big it
I used
was.
to have the box TVs
Oh
too.
yeah. And I used to watch all the classic B movies. And when I watched this, I fell in love the instant I did. And it's Army of Darkness.
Oh,
Like, I just love the character of Ash. Like, he's
you
just
just
fantastic. And Bruce Campbell is amazing. There's a reason why he's an icon, a
yeah,
cultural icon
he's
in
in
these
almost
movies.
he's in almost every single one of Sam Raimi's movies.
He is. He always has a cameo,
Yeah.
and he does all the physical acting and all the slapstick stuff. Like, I bought his autobiography because I love the guy so much. If Chins Could Kill, it's a fantastic book. I love the title. And like he talks about like how they got him on this wooden cross spinning around as he's flying through the vortex, and Sam Raimi's running around with branches he's taken off of trees, just smashing him across the face with them.
See, like my whole thing with Ash is he's just the right amount of like douche, where he comes across as endearing, but at the same time, like
He
Chad
shouldn't be
like
likable.
he shouldn't be likable, but the way I guess the way he like directs it, like one of my most memorable lines from the whole series is like this. is my
Is
boomstick.
boomstick.
And then like he just spouts off the aisle number and everything like that and the price from fucking Kmart.
Right?
Shop smart. Shop K
So
smart, you
smart.
savages. Oh man, I love it.
Oh, but there's so many great lines in that movie, like Yoshi bitch, let's go.
Yeah.
Like I had that. I found that on the internet, and I had that as the opening tone for Windows 95. And so I turned my computer on, and it's like Yoshi bitch, let's go, instead of that startup tone.
Do. It's a much
But
better
you're
startup
right,
tone.
he's the perfect amount of douche. He's a total Chad, and like it's just the way he's just, like, even going back to like the Evil Dead, the way he's laughing his ass off as he chops his hand off with a chainsaw.
Oh, he's gone totally crazy.
Like
Right?
his acting is so over the top, but it fits so well.
The
And
universe.
the whole movie is just enough just cheese that like it's just, oh fuck, I love that movie. I
And
must
then
have
like
seen that's the movie I've probably watched 30, 40 times.
you know what
Don't know any other
started
movie I have.
you know what started my dislike of modern horror movies?
What's that?
The remake of Evil Dead.
I never watched it because I didn't want to.
So it's the same reason I dislike Mulan, because they took all of the things that made Evil Dead kind of like classic and everything like that. They took out all the fun and everything like that, and all of Ash's friends and his sister and his girlfriend. They're all like the most stupid caricatures of any other fucking like of any movie, and it just infuriates me.
Well, you can't. They try, from what I read about that, it sounded like they tried to copy the feel and everything of the original, and that just came across as a poor copy.
Yep,
They put
I
it through a
agree.
photocopier and it came out with a lot of shitty lines all over it.
Yep, like my biggest gripe with that fucking remake, dude, was the fact that like, so spoilers for a movie that came out like 8 years ago.
Ages ago.
Yeah. If you have a demon girl locked in a fucking cellar and she's like taunting you and insulting you and everything like that, then all of a sudden the hatch goes down and then like it pops up again. She's like, "Oh, like why am I in the cellar? What's going on?" That bitch is playing a trick on you. You burn the fucking cabin down and you leave.
She's
You don't
lying.
you don't go down there and be like, "Stacy, are you okay, Stacy?" No, because Stacy's a fucking demon. She's gonna kill you the moment you step down there. Like, it's so frustrating.
But one of my favorite moments in all of cinema is when Ash has the 3 books and he's got to read to say that incantation. And he starts and then he realizes he forgets, and so he mumbles the last line. And it's just so fucking classic. I love
And then he
that.
like fucks it all up too, because that leads right into Ash versus the Evil Dead.
But that's my favorite movie of all time, man. And it has been for a long, like, Ghostbusters is my number 2, but The Army of Darkness is just, it's just got, I'm picturing right now the poster for it. And oh, the poster is such a thing of beauty.
When he's flexing and everything like that.
His shirt open, his chest out, he's got our fist with the chainsaw. Like, oh, it's just a thing of beauty.
Oh, it's
Poster
classic.
as well is just perfect.
Shit
So
you
like,
don't see anymore.
no, so for me that's the movie. The worst movie for me, there's the movie that traumatized me the most as a child, and that is The Sound of Music. And then there's the movies that I hate the most, which is Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, the Joel Schumacher ones.
Yeah.
Like, I know one of those is, I know they're famous because Robin's got nipples. In
Batman has nipples.
well, Batman and Robin has nipples. Batman
That's
Forever, they
true.
both have nipples on their suits.
Yeah.
And like those were hands down the worst Batman movies ever. Val Kilmer was a horrible Batman.
Yeah. You know what's funny though?
What's that?
So, Val Kilmer released a documentary about his life because apparently he was one of those guys back in like the 80s and 90s that all went around with a camcorder everywhere, every place he went,
Yeah.
right? And he was so excited to play Batman, right? He like jumped at the opportunity, and you know what? They pretty much told him, hey, just stand there.
Like the way they shot, like everything about those movies were just, they didn't have a comic book feel to them. They just looked like shit. They reminded me of Double Dragon, which, okay, Double Dragon is one of the worst movies ever. And if anyone's seen
Whoa!
Double Dragon is
Come
so
on!
bad.
Come
But it reminded
on!
me of Double Dragon. Like, you can't even take either of these Batman movies seriously. Like, Tim
Well,
Burton started off with, he had two Batman movies, and they were great pieces of cinema.
Batman
They were
19,
fantastic.
Batman 1980 and
1989 and 1992, I believe it was.
yeah. So my whole thing is like when the actor, the main character, hates the movie so much that he's like, I've never felt so bad working on a movie that I felt like a prop. I was a prop in that movie. Right? That's what he even says in Val. And so you're sitting there going like, fuck, you know what? Like, I'm starting to see it. So I didn't know this because I never really paid attention to movie scores back then, Nolan. Do you know what the fucking the main theme of Batman Forever is?
I have no idea, but I'm assuming I'm going to go out on a limb here and just say it was awful. The whole movie, everything about the movie was awful, so the
It's a good
music's going to
song.
be bad.
It's a good song, don't get me wrong, but it's just not a Batman kind of song.
What was
It's
it?
Kiss from a Rose by Seal.
Jesus. Oh.
Yeah. we got the soundtrack in at the store and I was reading it. I'm like, what is going on? Like they ditched the Gotham feel of Batman 1989 and they went like with this like I was like, what is this? What is the point of this? I think we lost it.
I think he froze. Oh yeah, he's definitely gone.
Well, Andrew, I'm pretty sure that's about it for his worst movies. What about you?
Sorry about that. I
Sorry.
disappeared there for a moment.
I gotta
I
turn
just took
that
the
off. I
opportunity
can't
to jump
fucking.
to Andrew.
Now we're
But
done with your shit.
but I was going to tell you a horrible story about Sound of Music. I
All right,
was
you
so
go for it.
traumatized. I was so traumatized by that movie growing up because my mother put it on to play every single Christmas, and she'd watch it like 5 times. And you just couldn't get away from it in the house. Like, it was always, I just can't stand that movie. And when I was in high school, I ended up driving my parents' car. My parents got a new car, so I was driving the old one. And there's a girl that's crushing on big time. And I'm giving her a ride home from school with a bunch of my other friends. And she's driving shotgun. She's the one I'm crushing on. And
Yeah.
she opens the glove box, and there's two tapes in my car that my parents left. One was the Eagles, which was
Hell
awesome.
yeah.
Always been an Eagles fan. Eagles are
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
Tell California.
The second tape was a soundtrack to The Sound of Music, and she was really excited and asked if she could play it.
Oh no.
And it was like my world view just completely upended, went completely tits up. Like, it was like, it felt like such a betrayal. Like, when I think of Sound of Music, I think of having to hear it over and over every year, and I think of that moment in my car.
You just step on the brakes. Just step on the brakes, fucking as it like hits the brake, as like the car like fires to a stop, and you just go, get the fuck out. Just get the fuck out.
I got my friends in the back seat. She's in the front, and she asked me, and I had no idea what to do. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, holy fuck! And I liked her, so I said yes. And then we ended up driving home from school, listening to The Sound of Music, and
Yeah, man.
it was like, fuck, man. That was a really painful afternoon.
Yeah, no, I can feel it.
And that's why Sound of Music, like one of the most hated. It's probably the most hated movie in my mind, in my head.
But like
And like
it's a good movie though, like
I get
objectively.
like just hearing the title, like there's so much emotion wrapped up in that for me. Like I can't take it when just hearing the movie on TV, hearing the songs from it, or like like the hills are alive. Like I don't fucking care.
I can hear
Like
I can feel your
oh,
anger
like
from here, man.
I can't handle hearing anything that has to do with that movie.
God.
All right, I'm done. Andrew, let you go.
Sorry, I was playing Castlevania.
Wow,
So I
it's
can give a
almost like he doesn't want to be
shit
here.
about anything you guys had to talk about. Just kidding.
Unbelievable.
Kind of kidding. All right. So I didn't do too much movies because I've watched a lot of movies. I don't think I've ever had a movie that's actually like emotionally touched me in my life. So I've never been like emotionally assaulted by a movie in my life, and so I kind of just went with video games.
Wow. Weird.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
Before you do that, I
No,
just
fuck
want
you.
to
You
ask
stole my
one
game.
question
You
to both
stole
of
my
you guys.
game.
I want to ask one question to both of you guys.
What?
What movie has a movie ever made you cry? I've got two.
I have 3.
I don't think I have one.
Oh, that was something I wasn't expecting. Really, you have a heart of fucking ice. How does something like actually melt that to the point where it comes out of your eyes?
It's not possible. That's the problem. But like, I don't know.
All right, Austin, what are
I
your
think when
three?
I watch, well, I was gonna say, I think when I watch a movie, I just, like I said, like movies don't really have that. I watch it for entertainment. They don't really have that like emotional strike, because I kind of know it's fake. So I kind of just doesn't hit me like that.
Moment. Wow.
I get that, and I agree with you. When I watch a movie, like I don't get emotional during movies, but there are two that I actually cried at.
Look, we all know that Notebook makes you like shed tears. It's fine. We understand.
Oh man, I need a
Notebook
bucket
is a
next to me
beautiful
when I watch
story, and
that.
I will not have you talking shit about it in front of me.
I hate that movie.
What, really?
Yeah, I don't like it.
I've never seen it.
I don't like it.
Oh, all right.
I've watched it once. Same with Titanic.
Titanic is overrated.
You know the boat's gonna sink.
Yeah, I don't know. The movie didn't do it for me.
So the first movie, it's probably the same as a lot of other people out there.
It's nobody.
Marley and Me.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and
I'm actually genuinely shocked.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I know, but
Marley and Me was this fucking like. First of all, it's bullshit because you know what? This dog is a little fucking asshole its entire life, and you kind of fall in love with it over the story, and then they just have to pull the rug out. So, but I have a really embarrassing story to tell of Marley and Me.
He was on a date. He was totally on a date.
I was on a date. And you know what's really funny? It was really funny. So I went on a date.
Is this for podcast listeners? Should you tell this story? 'Cause I'm like worried that like things happened and you started crying and lost signals.
So potentially, I went on a double date with one of my buddies back in high school.
Who tells this story to this day?
Yeah, it's one of the most demasculating things of my life. So I took out this girl from high school, and we went, right, and my buddy and his girlfriend went. So my buddy's girlfriend was just bawling, right, and I'm fucking bawling, like just crying my eyes out, right, and I look over, and the girl I went with just fucking cold, like fucking Andrew, heart of ice, kind of just staring. She's like, "Why are you crying? It's just a dog." Right? And I looked over,
Okay,
like, "You heartless bitch!" Right? Like,
I wouldn't be that bad.
fucking, fucking, my buddy, he like, I remember him looking at me like on the way back down as we're leaving the fucking the movie theater. He just goes, "This was a horrible idea. This is a bad idea." And I'm sitting there going like, "Yeah, this is a fucking shit. It was a horrible idea." And the other one is $1 Million Baby.
No, that I haven't seen actually.
It's a Clint Eastwood movie about a boxer.
That's why. Yeah, that's why I haven't seen that.
She like, her family always treats her like fucking shit, so she like, she wants to learn how to box, and she tries to get him to teach her, essentially. So she goes through until she sits there and forces her to train until he like finally is like, "No, you're doing it wrong here," right? The begrudging old man kind of like takes her under his wing, right? And then she becomes the world champion boxer, right? And at the end, she at one of her fights, this dirty boxer fucking hits her in the like sucker punches her kind of thing. And the fucking one guy who was dealing with the stool puts the stool in like instinctively, because after the bell rings, you got to put the stool in so she can sit down, right? And she falls onto the stool and paralyzes herself.
Yeah, that was a
Right?
good movie.
And well, yeah, so at the end, like, she keeps trying to kill herself because she's in pain and she's suffering, and her family's trying to manipulate her into signing in over all of her stuff to them because they don't even care about her. They just want her money. And the only person who's ever cared about her was her coach, and he lets her go, kind of thing. And it was a really heart felt moment, and made me cry like a little bitch.
For me, both of my movies were sports movies. One
Oh,
was Brian's song
oh,
about Brian Piccolo and Gale Sayers.
yeah.
And because Brian Piccolo, they're both football players in NFL. Gale Sayers was one of the first black players, and Brian Piccolo was a white guy on the team and he was the only one that befriended him at the beginning. And he ends up getting cancer, and it's his story about him dying. And I got goosebumps just thinking about it because it was a really emotional movie. And yeah, that's one that I did tear up and cry at. And
He's doing it right now.
Just about, man. I got
Just a
goosebumps
thought.
just thinking
Just
about
a
it.
thought.
But like, it's even famous. Like, I remember growing up, it was famous as like the only movie a man's allowed to cry at.
Man, you know what? I'm glad that that's kind of changed. Oh, it's like,
That's right, because now I can tell what the next one is.
oh,
Because
okay.
like, we're allowed to have emotions and feelings,
Uh,
No, you're
but
not.
all right, fine, I'll bury them. I'll be like
I'm
Andrew.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. I
yeah,
don't
When I
bury
watch a
him.
like,
movie, I'm
I
gonna
just
channel
don't
my
feel
inner
them.
Andrew. It's like I don't fucking care. He
Yeah, that's
dies.
basically my attitude. Yeah.
it's like it's
Yeah,
just Andrew sitting in the bottom corner over here going, "It's just a football player, all right? Like, who cares?"
Yeah, it's either that or a concussion's gonna get him. What's really the difference?
fuck. But the other one for me was 8 Seconds. It was a rodeo movie with Luke
That's another
Perry.
sad one.
I hated Luke Perry. I couldn't stand Beverly Hills 90210. But that movie made me a Luke Perry fan. I fucking
Last
loved him after that.
last bull ride, man.
Like, oh, that was it. And then his buddy at the end, after he rides the bull for 8 seconds, puts his hands up, goes like this, which was the other guy singing, and like I cried. That was it. Like, that was such a beautiful movie. And
They're
those are the two
commenting
movies that
over
made me
that.
cry.
Yeah. And then there's Andrew who's sitting there going, nothing makes me cry.
What are emotions? I don't understand. Just so everyone knows, on the base AI code for all of you, I haven't grown to feel feelings yet.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Andrew. So what's your number one pick there, dude?
Well, the first game to make me cry. No, I'm just kidding.
Advance Wars. Let's
Every
go.
time.
All three of them, right?
You just cry because it's so bad.
Tears of nostalgia, and that's only the tears I tear. Everyone, don't forget it. Yeah, okay. So, like I said, I went mostly video games on mine. Yeah, so one of my favorite games of all time, like one of my top three games for sure is The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. It feels weird that I haven't talked for so long. It feels unnatural. The reason why is because like I feel like I don't know if a lot of people agree with me, and I'm not sure. I don't really put this out in the ether that much, but I find that Ocarina of Time is basically just a spoof of that game, just in 3D. And so I think that game has a lot more meaning for me than like Ocarina of Time does, because basically like Ocarina of Time, in my opinion, was built on that. Like the story's the story's different, but like the
Not just
gameplay is ideally the same. Like it's like the base of that game. And like I've played that game like a million times. I it's like the first, like if it was as a child, it was like the first game that kind of had like the puzzle aspect to it. The action, the adventure, the story was really good. Trying to find all
was
the
actually
secrets and
really
all that stuff. I was actually I went to Brazil for a month, and I mostly played that game the entire time. Only because there wasn't what we were doing wasn't really that interesting. So that game just has sentimental value to me. I've bought it on everything that I own ever, and probably more than Mario. And yeah,
cool thing about like A Link to the Past, right?
yeah.
Is the world at that time, like that was never really done with like a super interconnected world like that, right?
No, and also everyone has to realize too is that it's, I mean, like I said, it's so similar to Ocarina of Time, right? You have you have the day and the night, like dark world and light world, right? And that's basically what Ocarina of Time did too, right? You had, when you went to the future, it was all bad. The same idea, same thing happened. You had to rescue the seven sages.
Mhm.
You had to fight Ganon and all that stuff. The only cool thing that Ocarina of Time did that forever set the Legend of Zelda in a
Ganondorf.
different. No, it was more of Ocarina of Time. What they did well was when Majora's Mask came out, they basically just reused the assets, which kind of set in motion a lot of other games that Nintendo ended up making, more like The Legend of Zelda. Because then you have like Wind Waker, and then you have Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracker, which basically kind of more or less use the same assets on different consoles, but the same assets nonetheless, and the same art style and stuff like that. So that's when Nintendo learned that they could kind of get away with like
I'd say
reusing
Wind
things and
Waker's pretty different from the rest of the series.
no, but like, have you played Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracker? Yeah, it's the same art style though, and then they use a
Really?
lot of and they use a lot of the same characters. It was on DS instead of GameCube.
Oh, that's probably the reason why I never played it.
Yeah. So, anyways, so like it's just like they really reused that art style like three times, and then Ocarina of Time did it twice with Majora's Mask stuff like that. But like to me, like Link to the Past was like the last like standalone kind of on its own, and I think in a way made what future Zeldas we have now, other than Breath of the Wild, because that went drastically different. But like everything from then and now, right? Because like you have Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons was based more on Legend of Zelda DX, Link's Awakening. So that's what those games are kind of based off. Like a lot of the Capcom games are slowly based on that one. Like even with Minish Cap as well. Like you had your dungeons and your keys and unlocking the dungeons and all that kind of stuff. That was more of a Game Boy experience, so to speak. Number two for me is Star Wars. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing at me? You told me
Oh,
how you cried at Marley and me like a weenie in front of your date. You're laughing at me?
I wasn't laughing at you. I was smiling at you. And first of all, you're supposed to go into your most hated because we're doing in circles like that kind of
Oh,
thing.
I'm going. Oh, okay. So like battle royales, just all of them except for Apex Legends. It's the only one
I
I
hear you
like.
with that.
Yeah, I do not give two shits about any of them. I think they're all stupid.
So,
Um,
little peek behind the cover of our stuff here. When I sent out my ideas, right, and then I was reading through Andrew's um Nolan's. I was sitting there looking through it, And sure as shit, we're all very similar in a lot of ways, but we all hate the same fucking type of game, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like Fortnite, I understand the appeal of Fortnite, but the whole I'm too old, and the building and the shooting thing just doesn't sit with me like at all. Like I can't do that simultaneously. Like I literally have watched videos of people just like, and then like they just like some guys like sitting there and shoots them off the tower and stuff like that, or vice versa, right? Shoots them from the tower, and I'm just like I can't do any of that. Like that's not. This isn't entertaining for me. And then PUBG, I've never like Call of Duty, any Call of Duty multiplayer game. I was into it when I was in high school, and people take that game way too fucking seriously. You all need to you guys you need a life. You need to like
What?
understand that there's more in life. Like if that's like your anger therapy, sweet. Okay, understandable. As long as you're not going outside and like beating people up through anger and you're killing them on Call of Duty, good for you. You do that. But for fuck's sakes, man, it's just a game. Chill the fuck out.
Whoa. Okay, Andrew. But all right. For all the young people that listen to us, you have never truly lived until you sat through school and you're like, man, I'm so excited to get home, play Eternal on the Xbox, turn on fucking Call of Duty Black Ops 1, and then all of a sudden, you get into a lobby, and then all of a sudden, every single fucking person in that lobby has fucked my mom multiple times, right? And you're like, just getting.
Online was
Just
online was a little different for me than I think for you. We had our beaking was respectful. I feel like now people are just out to like hurt.
Well, no, that's not even.
Like,
It was so funny. Like I said, I remember like going back and being like, I'd be like, well, this is going to be an interesting experience.
oh my
Every time,
god.
I'll say I miss lobby chat. I want to fucking talk some shit to people again. Like, God, that was fun.
You can still do it in Halo. You can still lobby chat
I
in
don't
Halo.
have an Xbox.
You can also lobby chat actually you still lobby chat in a lot of games, to be honest. But yeah, no,
Most people are parties nowadays, at the very least.
but yeah, no, PUBG I never got into because I never got into like the whole. I mean, like I said, I was in high school, but all my friends were playing it, so it was peer pressure, I guess, to like hop onto that. Turned into a drinking game once I became legal. More or less of an age, and then yeah, like Apex Legends is the only one I can ever stand because it's mostly just you drop, you have some cool powers, you shoot people, you move on. It's
Well,
very
it's
easy.
I guess they seen like the success of the hero shooter, and they're like, hey, let's turn that into a battle royale, and it really worked out well for them.
Yeah, Splitgate actually is supposed to be really good, and I like to give that a roll.
My whole thing with PUBG though is I find it really appeasing to watch people who are really good at battle royales. Don't get me wrong. I I don't hate battle royales. I hate playing battle royales, right? Because when you watch somebody who's really good at military strategy shooters like PUBG, and they go around and they just fucking shit on every person, it's super super interesting. Exact same thing with like Apex Legends when you watch somebody who's really good at it, right? And they're sliding around and bouncing off things, flying through the air, fucking dodging, firing at people at the same time. You're like, this seems like this is cheating, but it's totally just in the realms of the game, right? For me, my most hated game of all time is Fortnite. Fucking hate that game. I have broken controllers. I've ripped fucking PlayStation controllers in half because of it, right? It turns out play PlayStation 4, just twist and pull.
Most controllers are actually built that way.
But it's one of the situations where like the thing that pissed me off about Fortnite, it wasn't just the battle royale, right? It was multiple things because I like MOBAs a lot. I don't know about you, Andrew or Nolan.
Nope. Nope.
Um, they fucking the people who made Fortnite, they had a really really detailed and beautiful MOBA called Paragon, right? It wasn't the best MOBA out there, but it wasn't the worst, and it was actually really really fun, and I liked a lot of the characters and everything like that, and like how all the characters could kind of just play whatever you needed them to do, right? Like a support could be a damage dealer, a fucking damage dealer could be a support. Like it was really really good. um then Fortnite came out, and then like they started diverting all the resources because Fortnite was really successful. So then I got my buddy Brett got me a beta pass to do the PvE version of Fortnite, like whatever it's called, Building Against the World. I don't remember at this point, but it
Yeah,
was
it was
really
something
really good.
stupid. Then.
Right? It was really good. It was really fun. And like I said, it was creative and I loved what you did. Like after a while, you could just start building your base up. And then like you could do base defense and everything like that. Or you could go out and grab material. It was really, really cool. And then they just like kind of forgot about it because a lot of people forget. Fortnite was the Battle Royale was a side game. It wasn't the full game until like it became such a blowout success. And now I can't escape it. And I think that's the real reason I fucking hate it. The same reason why Nolan hated fuck The Sound of Music. I can't escape it no matter what I go on. I go on fucking Twitter, I go on Reddit, fucking Fortnite is there, fucking YouTube. Fortnite is there. It's invading other games, right? Like I said, I'm I'm so tired of it. I hate seeing it. I know a lot of people really like it, and that's really cool. I'm happy that you enjoy that, but like, I don't want it to see it in every fucking place I go. Like if I swear to God, if I take the bus, there'll be a fucking Fortnite sticker on it somewhere, and I'm like, oh damn it, leave me alone.
You're supposed to play it. That's why it's calling to you.
No, it's not. I fucking hate that thing. But
The
my
Destiny
favorite
also.
game of all time, Persona 5. I had such a Royale, sorry. Persona 5 Royale.
Yeah.
I had such an amazing time. And like again, like you'd never played it. I could tell by your face you're like, I don't know
No,
what's
I've played it. I've played it.
the music, like the
Yeah,
jazz and everything like that. It's like the perfect JRPG in my eyes, like where you can do there's so much you can do. The characters are all fantastic and you watch them grow and they're relatable and interesting and they all cover different dynamics. Um Beautiful, man. Like I said, and I love playing it. I love playing through it. Like even like most of the time in JRPGs, grinding is one of the most boring, fucking negligible things that you can ever come up with, right? But in that game, it's actually fun. You get items, like you can build up, you can collect personas and kind of like form them together and evolve them into better new personas. Like Persona's like one of the few games where I actually try to sit there and go through and grab every single fucking creature so that way I can make all the super personas and everything like that. Like it's just awesome. And then like when and then Royale came out and just literally made everything better.
too
It
long.
well that's one of the reasons I liked it.
Too long.
Another thing I really liked about it was so I don't like paying for things twice. I'm pretty sure when I first came with the idea, Andrew probably thought my fucking most hated game of all time was going to be a Bethesda game because I don't like Bethesda,
No,
right?
no, I actually didn't think about that at all.
Because all I do is scream at Bethesda for re-releasing Skyrim for the 70th time,
You didn't scream at
right?
me. You screamed at the listeners.
Well, you know what? They should know better. Don't buy it. Um,
I already bought the anniversary November edition.
why?
I'm kidding. I didn't. I didn't.
What to say? Don't start. um, so essentially, I bought Persona 5 when it first came out, kind of thing. Paid like $90 for it because I bought one of the higher editions. And then when Royale came out, I was kind of questioning. I'm like, why would I pay for it if I'm getting the expansion? And my buddy was sitting just for expansion, you're paying the full price of a game. And there he goes, because the amount of stuff they added to the game, it made it perfect. So I finally like bit the bullet, and I've never regretted it since. I play the Persona soundtrack in my store. Like I said, it's beautiful. It fits in every situation, and the overall experience I've had with that game, I can't think of a bad thing. I can't. Well, actually, Okumura's Palace is pretty fucking annoying, but when the worst part is part of the best part of the game, uh, no, that's something else. But yeah, so those are my favorite and worst games.
All right,
Is
Nolan.
Nolan gonna come back?
He's back.
Well, I'm back. I'm here. My
So,
favorite game. I've got a few. I love Zelda: Link to the
send
Past.
him a message.
That was a great one. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I think Austin can't hear you.
I'll just
All
leave 1
right.
second.
You must have me on mute.
I have you on mute too.
I just assume you always do.
Yeah, fair.
All right, no, let's
Yeah, I
speak.
switched my mobile because my laptop's not working.
Yeah, I like how much money you
Perfect.
spent on that laptop and it doesn't work.
Oh, the last month, I've been having a lot of troubles with Discord.
Maybe it needs to be updated.
Sounds like something. Yeah, it sounds to me like you need to update it.
I don't know how many times I've uninstalled it. Anyways, my favorite games. I love A Link to the Past for a lot of the same reasons Andrew said. It was just most of it's nostalgia, but I played through it again on my Switch with the Nintendo Pass for Super Nintendo, and the charm, everything of it is still there.
This don't go alone.
Another
That's
another one was
that's one.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night,
Oh, that was the
which we
first one.
covered,
Oh
which we
shit.
covered in one of our other podcasts, me and Austin. It's just a great game, just the style of it, the soundtrack, and just everything they did going to the PlayStation platform is just they put so much into that game. It's just fantastic, amazing. But when I really think about it, and this topic, Austin, really made me think. My favorite game out of all of them, the one that gives me the most warm and fuzzies, is the original Dragon Warrior for Super Nintendo or for regular Nintendo for the NES. I remember being a little kid going to my buddy's place, and his brother had Nintendo, and he was playing Dragon Warrior, and I was in love with it. I remember playing on my cousin's Atari, and he had a couple little adventure kind of dungeon games on there, and I tried them and just didn't really care. But Dragon Warrior was the reason I got a paper route so I could buy a Nintendo and buy and play Dragon Warrior. And that was the first game that really got me into all the RPGs and made me a huge RPG fan. And like the Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest series, I played those 1 through 4. Then there were a few that were never released in North America that I had
Yeah.
to download off of emulators and play through those. And then it was Dragon Warrior 9, I think, was the last one I played, or 8 was the last one I played on what the hell was it? PlayStation 2. And I just that get the original game just has so much charm to it. After my NES broke and I couldn't play any of my games, the reason I downloaded an emulator was so I could play Dragon Warrior again. And I don't know how many times I played through it. I just love that game. The
Oh hell yeah.
story is not anything special. I mean, because it was such an early game for the NES, the story doesn't have a lot of depth. There's not a whole lot to it. But I just loved playing that game.
Have you've seen the Dragon Warrior anime movie that they released on Netflix?
No, I haven't.
Apparently, it's a retelling of the first game,
Oh, really?
so you might like it. I didn't like it because I found it confusing because, like I said, I had no kind of connection to the game, right? But a lot of people were saying like it's a movie made for the fans, so hey, you might really like it.
What I really loved about the first Dragon Warrior was how it started the series, and the second Dragon Warrior and the third one all came back to that. The second one was a sequel, and the third one was a prequel. And those three together, just for me, when I had my Nintendo, that was like the first complete trilogy that I ever played, and it all kicked off with Dragon Warrior. I remember playing Dragon Warrior 4 and being so disappointed that it wasn't a continuation of the story.
You're like, what happened to
And,
my favorite character? What's going on?
right? where's the story? I know the backstory. I know everything about like the Legend of Erdrick. Like, 'cause the first one, you're a descendant to the legend of Erdrick, the legendary dragon warrior,
Hmm?
and the second one, after in the first one, after you kill the Dragon Lord, the second one is the sequel where your descendants have spread out and ruled a few kingdoms,
Hmm?
and it's like your grandkids are coming together to save the world again. And then Dragon Warrior 3 tells a story of how your hero became Erdrick, the legendary Dragon Warrior.
Oh.
And the whole thing just comes full circle. You got the first one, the second one, and then the third one just brings it all the way back and ties it all together. And the fourth one had nothing to do with the Legend of Erdrick, and none of the rest of the Dragon Warriors or Dragon Quests have. But so the fourth one, it took me a while to really get into it. And then I love the hell out of that game too. But for
What's the
me,
original?
the original Dragon Warrior, the most basic, simplest RPG I've ever played, that's the one that when I think about video games and gaming, that's the one. Like, if I had an emulator on my laptop for the original Nintendo, that's the first game I would play.
Hell yeah.
It's just, it means so much to me for just how I started playing video games, and that's just where my whole love of it all started.
See, that's the perfect way of doing it.
I don't know what Andrew's trying to show us.
I'm playing Dragon Warrior.
It's Dragon Warrior 1.
I'm on my mobile. I gotta press this. Oh yes, there you go.
Mm.
Do 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 do
Like,
do do do.
it's not nearly as easy as other games to play. Like, there's so many little things in it that, like, he moves so slow. With an emulator, I can crank the speed up. Yeah, no, you have to be on the treasure chest, dude.
Oh,
There you go.
But Nolan, so what's your most hated game?
We covered the battle royales. I've never played one I've liked. The game
Wait,
that
you
the
didn't
game
even
that
like the Royal fucking Andrew's favorite fucking battle royale, Apex Legends,
Apex.
the best one?
I've I think I have that on my Switch because it's free, and I've never played it. I just can't.
Don't. It's garbage on Switch.
I have a
On
computer.
But
your
Let me play it
laptop.
on a computer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
no,
really.
I know, Andrew, you're gonna really disagree with this because I know you like this game. But Final Fantasy VIII was such a disappointment to me. Like, you know what? I was
I
thinking
don't.
about
I
this.
don't. I don't know if I've ever said I really like
It.
this game.
I don't think I ever finished Final Fantasy VIII because I just gave up. It's like, fuck this game.
Yep.
I remember,
Uh,
or I don't know whatever they're called in that game. I, I didn't get Diablo,
really?
and that is such an integral one to get
So
because you
cool.
use that. He's got a special ability, and you can turn things into items, so you can upgrade your weapons and stuff.
Mhm.
And I played for countless hours because I miss talking to the guy that gives that to you. It's a it's a Diablo card in the card game. That's what it was. But you can use that during battles to get items, or you can turn cards into items. I don't know. It had some kind of mechanic where you could do that.
See, I
And
did my biggest thing
I
with Final Fantasy VIII was how clunky it was as a game.
oh, it
General.
was.
Like Final Fantasy VII as an RPG, which was the predecessor, was way better in how it handled and everything like that, right?
No, absolutely. And in 8, you can't even use your fucking magic because you have to tie it to your stats. So if you use your magic, you weaken yourself, which is such a stupid mechanic. On top of that, because you're a member of
Oh. Oh. Oh.
the game,
Oh.
I was top ranked in soldier because it's just these 10. It's a you just have to answer a quiz and get 10 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 or whatever to go up a rank. And you just do the quizzes over and over until you get them. And it's just stupid. Like, it took 5 minutes and you could answer all the quizzes and rank yourself up. And then you're getting your max income throughout the game for the rest of the game. It was just stupid. But yeah, that was one game that was the only Final Fantasy I never finished that I played.
I've never
And
finished
only
8.
because it was shit.
Yeah, we had
And
I think me and Austin had a discussion earlier about Final Fantasy 8 and like why we didn't really like it that much.
See, my whole thing was like, don't get me wrong, Squall is fucking cool, and the Gunblade is fucking cool,
Yeah, I
right?
agree.
Squall is such a shitty character. Like, he's so unlikable. He's such an asshole for 90% of the time, right? What was the fucking your girlfriend's name in that game?
Speaker? Oh, his girl. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
I never cared.
But she was the only like actually likable character out of all of them. like I said, everyone looks fucking dope. Everyone looks metal as hell. It's super 90s and everything like that, right? But like, they're all so unlikable.
The part of that game that I enjoyed the most was when you like swapped perspective and you were like Biggs, Wedge, and Vix or whoever they were.
Biggs and Wedge. What is a Star
I don't
Wars?
know. I don't know. It's like Vix and Wedge. I don't know. Biggs.
They might have.
I don't know. I can't remember who they were in there. But Wedge was one of them. Biggs and Wedge. I think that was it, or Vix and Wedge.
The overworld kind of like traversing in that game sucked. It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was just a huge miss on so many accounts with that one.
And then they went into Final Fantasy 9. And went into Final Fantasy 9, which is like the best version of the old games in my opinion. Right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, 8's just kind of forgettable. So I agree with you. I don't really like 8 either.
All right, I'm gonna do mine because it's getting long. Yeah. So number 2 for me is about 99% of everything Star Wars movies, other than the prequels and the sequels.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't have any movies.
I said I had some movies. Just most of mine were video games. I literally have a recording of it now, so there's pie on your face. As well as yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like, I probably every year I do watch all of them once a year. And then I play a lot of Star Wars games on the computer. Like, I've beaten like Dark Forces 2, Mysteries of the Sith.
Right.
Like, I've played, Return of the Jedi. Like, Kyle Katarr, I've played like his entire story.
All right, I have a question for you, Andrew. All right, so what is the best Star Wars movie and what is the worst Star Wars movie? And what is your favorite Star Wars game and your most hated Star Wars game? We don't have to go too deep into them, but
okay, so my favorite Star Wars movie, my worst Star Wars movie. My favorite one is Empire Strikes Back. My least favorite is Clone Wars, because that movie is just garbage.
Not good at all.
My favorite Star Wars game is really hard, but I think I'm gonna go against what a lot of people would say. It's kind of a toss up. I really like RTSs, so it's between Star Wars Empire at War and Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds. I play those games a lot. My most hated Star Wars game is are we counting mobile?
I didn't know there was a Star Wars mobile game, so yeah, go ahead.
All right, Star Wars Galaxy or Galaxy Heroes it's the dumbest game in the world.
So the correct answer for best Star Wars
game not Jedi Knight.
Was Age of Rebellion, the tabletop RPG that we were playing last week.
That is actually a really good Star Wars game, and I actually do have a tabletop that is in my top. I decided as my sixth one, because I told everyone I wasn't sure what it was gonna be. Yeah, Age of Rebellion for tabletop is intensely
Awesome. I loved it.
intimidating, but
I loved
it
the
is
whole
a lot
thing.
of fun. Yeah.
I love that whole session we did. I had so much fun.
Yeah,
Good job.
it was a good game. Especially something I've managed to write in like 5 days.
You did good.
Um yeah, and everyone didn't decide to be a big asshole and kill everything. And also I was super nice to all of you. So you all should have died at least 3 times.
Me? No. That was awesome.
You had some bad rolls too.
I like aced everything I did.
Honestly, you should have died in that ship. You should have died in that ship. You really should have been dead in that ship.
That was good. My one bad roll that night. My
Yeah.
one bad roll. Fuck.
Yeah. But yeah, no, and yeah, so like Star Wars is a huge thing. Worst thing ever is for me, like, or my one of my least favorite, whatever, like my top 3 worst, even though I think I only have 2, is Civilization Beyond Earth. I mean, as Austin slightly alluded to, and most people in my circle know, is I love tabletop games. I love board games. They're so much fun. I own too many, and
Yes.
I love Civilization. Like I love Civilization series, and I'll get onto that later. But my worst Civilization game ever was Civilization Beyond Earth, because that game is garbage. The tech tree in that game is garbage. The monsters you fight in there are garbage. Like it's not so much like, it's more it's more P versus E rather than P versus P, and that's fine. Like I'm not saying you don't really like, you don't get into that when it comes to like when you play original, like original Civilization, like, you know, you have barbarians and shit like that, right? But like you're so more focused on like your tech tree and trying to make sure your tech tree kind of matches up, which is like outrageous. Your tech tree is huge, and then you're trying to, like, there's like satellites you can get to like scan like life forms around you, or like randomly they'll come and attack you, or they're friendly or they're hostile, and you don't really know because you don't really know anything about them. You got to study them. And this is also where they kind of introduced like like if anyone plays like Civilization 6, you build workers, and then you can build 3 things, and then once those 3 things are done, you have no more workers, and you gotta rebuild workers again, which is an understandable, like, it's an understandable like mechanic to have for like managing your resources and your buildings and stuff like that, and making sure that you don't have wasted income on workers, because Civilization 5, that's a big thing. But I find that, yeah, Beyond Earth, like that's where they introduced it, but it was like more like one person, and then they would take forever to do something. It's just, that whole game was just not. They tried to fix it with like a DLC. It got better, but it was still garbage. I hate that game.
Wasn't that the game where they first tried to do something new? Like when you could once like taking over Earth and leaving Earth wasn't like the end of the game like it normally is. That's like the beginning in reality.
Yeah, so basically, like you can beat Civilization with a science achievement, which is basically where you launch Apollo into space and you start doing space explorations, right? So this is kind of like like an aftertake on that, where like, okay, humans have actually now completed space exploration. Now you're landing on a different planet. They they just made that game too complicated. Like it's like they wanted to give you almost every choice you could ever do. Like you could go and like you could pick a faction. You can become better at like studying things or killing things. You know, like you had areas you can go into, but then like you kind of had to focus your tree onto that. And if you didn't do that, then it kind of got a little hard. Even though there's like other things you need to achieve, it just made things kind of hard to balance, more or less. And so it just got really difficult, like too difficult. And then when Civilization 6 came out, they really toned it, like they toned it back a lot. Don't get me wrong. And they had other mechanics that they brought in that you need to balance, more realistic mechanics to balance. And so they toned it down a little bit from Beyond Earth to 6, and it's actually a lot better. I mean, 6 was a really rough start for sure, but then they released like Gathering Storms DLC and stuff like that, and it got a lot better.
Like what was it, like just too much of a good thing was a bad thing kind of thing?
No, it was like they introduced like the mechanics that they had in Beyond Earth, which kind of sucked. And so like I said, like it was just it was kind of, you had to get used to it. So like in Civilization, I'm just gonna do this because it's hard to like kind of beat around this bush. But like my third most favorite game is Civilization 5, because you can like it's a board game. You just play a board game. It's super simple. It's super easy, and you can learn as you play. Victoria got really attached to it, which is great and stuff like that. And we played it together for a while. And if you really like board games and you've never played Civilization, you do not need to play 1, 2, or 3, or 4. You just go straight to 5 and you don't go beyond. You play 5 for a while, you use to 5, and then you can go on, right?
Play
So 5,
Civilization Revolution. That's what you play.
No, that's if you're an idiot. But like, if you're under the age of 12, go for it. But yeah, so it's actually no Revolutions is actually pretty good. It's
Most
just
dumbed
really
down
fast.
version of it.
It's really fast paced. I didn't really like that. Like, I've killed a weekend playing Civilization 5. Like that game, you can't beat in a night. It's an 8 hour game longer, and you're gonna spread it over like 3 days. But yeah, so like I really like Rise of Nations is another game. So like if anyone's ever played that before, it's a Microsoft game from like the early 2000s. It's like Rise of Nations but on steroids, where you basically start in like the ancient era and you move your way up, and and I'm not gonna lie, my favorite part was building nuclear missiles in that game and then firing them at civilizations and hearing everyone scream as they would just like disintegrate into nothing. It was amazing. I loved it so much, and it was just it's challenging. Like there's so much to balance in that game, like between your diplomacy and stuff like that. But then when Civilization 6 comes out, they really amp up your diplomacy, and that becomes a huge thing in Civilization, right? Like you say yourself, Austin. Like each character in Civilization 5, like they'll be super hostile. Like certain characters are ultimately hostile to you, and others are like super, tame and won't do anything.
Honestly, Gandhi is like fucking. He's out for blood, dude.
Yeah, so like that, but in Civilization 6, I find that's a lot more tame, a lot more tame. It's more based on your decisions you make with those characters. So like if you decide to like send like caravans over there with goods, or like send like scientists over there or whatever, you give them money. And you also have like the UN, and you guys like vote on like world policies and stuff like that. And so like a lot of that is based on that, but I think that's what people kind of hated at the start, because it was a little too dominant in the game, and so it kind of made the game a little skewed to like how you're going to play. But then when they released the DLCs, they kind of evened everything out a little better. Um, but yeah, like there's just so much to say about it. If you just if anyone's ever bored and you just want to like, I don't know what to do, and Civilizations 5's on sale, just fucking buy it. Just get it. If you love tabletop games, get it. Though if you do like tabletop games, you probably already own it.
Yeah, and what was your other game? Since we might as well just keep going.
Catan Starfare. Actually, I think is I think that is now, and that's a tabletop game that I have thoroughly enjoyed. I've played it 5 times since I've bought it, and it's like I love, like, we all play Catan. We all like Catan, and we play it every Tuesday when you guys come over. We would play Catan, but like Starfare just adds so much to that game.
I think that was the first time I've actually ever won Catan.
Yeah, well, Victoria's mom kicked my ass at that game twice, and she's never played it before. But I also was helping her win, I guess. So there's that. What? I didn't hear what you said.
They're telling you it wasn't skill that beat him.
Yeah. But no, it's just like, if no one's ever played Starfare, like if everyone's played Catan, which I'm sure, again, if you really like tabletop games, I shouldn't have to explain this. I'm sure everyone likes this. But if you're like if you're new or want to get into it, Catan's basically a game where you get a board, you got roads, cities, and towns, and your idea is you're trading with the people you're playing with, and you're trying to build roads, cities, and towns. And towns are worth 1 victory point, cities are worth 2 victory points. You can have longest road, which is 6 roads or more in a line. It's 2 victory points, right? And your idea is to get to 10 victory points. That's really the base of the game. You have ore, brick, wood, wheat, and sheep, and you're just trying to like trade with everyone. You're trying to build things on those resources, because like everything's randomized. Starfare is kind of the same idea, but like you're in space, and you get a really cool big spaceship, and you get to like modify your spaceship. You get to like do like random encounters with space pirates or space princes or whatever like that, and you kind of have to like dictate how those actions unfold, and you get rewarded, or you can get tortured, I guess. I don't know. And so it's just a really cool aspect of the game, and like you all start in one area, but then you like spread out amongst the board to other planets and systems, and then you harvest whatever they have for material. And now you have gas, ore, carbon, food, and goods. And so it's a really cool game. Anyone should look it up. It's awesome. I really enjoy it.
Same here.
No, it's a lot of fun.
Nolan, what's your last favorite and last hated?
Oh,
Can we go through all yours already?
I thought we did.
Yeah, he only had 2 of each.
What?
Really.
Oh,
Well, he had Sound of Music and Batman Forever together. So
lazy. No, I get it.
No. He did technically have 3, but he did 2 and 2.
So now I have TV/anime. It was just going to be TV, but my favorite TV show is an anime. So, my favorite TV show of all time is a show called Mob Psycho. I'll kind of go quickly over it because the rest of the guys don't watch anime and they probably don't care about it either.
I just got
So,
Crunchyroll.
you shouldn't have bought it because I would have gave you mine, and I have that way you
What
wouldn't
do
have
you
to pay for it.
what do you have that I don't have? What do you
Uh,
have? What I have? What do you have? I'll trade you. I got Prime, Disney Plus, Netflix.
I have all of those.
Oh, dude.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure
Alright.
it out. So essentially, Mob Psycho is done by the same studio that does One Punch Man. One Punch Man is known for its bombastic kind of style of like art and its fight scenes and everything like that. And the reason I love Mob Psycho towards One Punch Man is because Saitama already his whole big thing was he's uh trying to grapple with the reality that he's hit a gap, he's hit a roof that no matter how much he can't get any stronger because there's nobody strong enough to affect him. So he beats everybody with one punch. But that's the most character he gets. With Mob Psycho is one of the strongest espers in the universe, which is like psychic powers essentially. And his whole kind of like battle is like an inner battle, like where he's strong enough to like solve any problems with his esper powers, but in reality he wants to do it normally. He wants to struggle. He wants to grow up. He wants to one of the reasons he figures out why a girl doesn't like him is because he doesn't have any muscles. So he joins the bodybuilder club, but he's got all these different like asthmas and like stuff where he literally can't, but he tries so hard, and it's so inspiring. Like I said, it's such a sweet story where like all the characters are so likable and they grow off of each other. The music is beautiful. The art style, like I said, bombastic, and like colors are flying everywhere and everything like that. It's just perfect. And it is my favorite anime of all time and by far my favorite TV show of all time. I can rant on about that show for like 20 minutes, but I'm not going to put the rest of the guys through it. If you love anime and you haven't seen Mob Psycho, I'd give it a go. And my least favorite show, and this is the reason why I said a lot of you may like this show, but I'm not you, and you're not me, and I think this is the worst show they've ever made. But CW, the network, has had a lot of crimes, in my opinion, where they have like the biggest thing they like to do is age up cartoon characters so they can have them have sex with each other. But for me, the big thing I hate the most is Titans. Um, it's they took out all of the personality out of all of these characters that are so interesting and cool and everything like that. They changed so many of the personalities. The only personality they got was the only first like personality they actually got right was Raven, which is weird because Raven's arguably the hardest one to do. Um, but like easiest one, Dick Grayson. He's miserable throughout the entire series. Dick Grayson is supposed to be this breath of fresh air. And then like there's this god awful blue tint in every single fucking scene. It's not as bad when it's at night, but when it's in the day and it's darker than fucking most night scenes and most shows. Like, what is going on with that? Like, characters are all weird. Like they don't like for example, here's another one where like Hawk in season 2 is addicted to heroin, right? They go through 2 episodes of him like detoxing off of heroin, and then there's one episode where he's clean, and then like they realize that like halfway through that episode they're like there's still more things we want to do with this with heroin, and then like they just automatically they're like yeah, so he never actually detoxed even though we watched him detox for 2 episodes, right? So it's like it's just so fucking stupid, and like oh, I could go on for hours. I said it's just so bad in every aspect. And every single season, I watch it and expecting something else, and it's just like fucking. I feel like Voss here, where it's like the definition of insanity. I go in there expecting something to be different. And it's just the same shitty blue tint every season. But anyways, rant over. That is my most hated TV show of all time. Yeah.
I was just looking at insights on where we're sitting at, but yeah. Sorry. Well, I think that's where we can end it. Sorry, I was doing the thing. Also, everyone, going forward, I thought it would be really funny that if you guys want to keep listening, I'm gonna have like little like snippets of like our fuck ups like right after the main like music theme at the end, because I think it'd be super like, or just like a weird conversation we have like just that isn't relevant whatsoever. I don't know. I think it'd be funny, kind of like outtakes.
This one's gonna
We've
be.
had so many great conversations at the beginning before we record that I
Yeah.
think people would love to hear.
Oh no, I know. I was actually I don't know. We'll see what I find through this recording. What I think will be worth putting at the end. I just think it'd be kind of funny. Just music ends and it's just us just like talking shit about whatever. So yeah, it won't be like long. So it'll be like a, I don't know, 20-second, 30-second clip of whatever it was funny, or however long I think it's funny.
Somebody just thinks it's gonna be them shitting on me.
Yeah, it's gonna be us shitting on Austin. Cool. All right, well, let's end it there then. Remember, you can always support us on the Acast supporting system. You can find that in the description below, as well as main jams. You can find that below, as well as the link to that in every description of episodes. My name's Andrew. I gotta thank Austin and Nolan for being here as always, and thank you, the listeners, for sticking around for this train wreck of a shit show of incoherent conversations that we have. Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, see you guys all later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.
God damn, I'm so glad this is over. I got so much shit to do.
I noticed you kept like Victoria kept talking to you, you kept muting and like looking over.
I know. I kept looking at her too, being like, what the fuck? Trying to do something here. Jesus Christ.
There you go.